Jesus Christ, let's take two on this. I don't know what was going on with my Wi-Fi, but I should open my living room door and hopefully, fingers crossed, there's no issues about my Wi-Fi going down. I've never had my Wi-Fi go down. So this is take two for episode 238. I want to apologize. I just stopped midstream, but I had to because I was getting nervous that you wasn't seeing it, and I didn't want to do all this work for nothing. But let's quickly synapse this past week. Okay, I had a decent Mother's Day, even though I didn't have my mother. Decent birthday, in fact, incredible birthday, with the lack of my mother not being here. Then comes yesterday. I woke up sick. I went to go get tested today. I got COVID. What a way to end my birthday week. I was supposed to go live yesterday at 2 p.m. I couldn't make it out of bed. So you're getting me tonight. I was supposed to go at 9:30, but things just happened. Oh, I'm so thirsty tonight. Anywho, this is episode 238. Please do me the favor and go check out harrys.com, maestroclassics.com, liquiddeath.com. Go check out deathwishcoffee.com, ringsidenews.com, Outbreak Wrestling. Go check out all their social medias, and also please go check out HOG Wrestling's social media. They have a website. It's hogwrestling.net. And I want to say thank you to the people over at Pro Wrestling TV for sending me this lovely poster and this lovely hat, which I'm going to be letting my son inherit on this coming Saturday, or I'll just wait till he comes home on Monday for Memorial Day. They also sent me this beautiful t-shirt, Pro Wrestling TV. So I want to say thank you. Go check them out. They're all in all streaming platforms. Download it. Enjoy wrestling the way it's meant to be. Let's get right into this. I'm going to start off with my thoughts of WrestleMania Backlash. It was a decent pay-per-view. I could have done with a lot of matches, but it was WrestleMania Backlash, so it is what it is, and they gave us a lot of matches that were not needed at that point. So we're going to start off with, they were in Rhode Island at the Duncan Center. We will start off with Rollins versus Rhodes. Cody chants ring out throughout the arena. The match gets underway. They lock up. Rollins looks for a back suplex. Cody lands on his feet and drops to his back for a Goldust uppercut, but Seth catches the hand and laughs at him. Rollins backs Cody into the corner and kicks him, then hits a roll-up for a 2 count. Rollins takes a cheap shot and Rhodes punches him in response. Cody beats Rollins in the corner, but Seth escapes from the ring and runs away. Rollins capitalizes at Rhodes, gets back into the ring and lands some punches and kicks. Seth sends Cody to the apron and knees him off. Rollins goes out, but Cody slams his head into the steel steps. Rollins runs around the ring, but Rhodes runs around the ring at Seth, but gets caught with a big clothesline. Rollins gets Cody back inside and grabs a sleeper. Cody fights up and hits a standing vertical suplex, then a disaster kick for a near fall. Seth asks Cody to back up, then shoves him over the ropes as he attempts the disaster kick again. Rollins sends Cody into the barricade, then the announce desk. Back in the ring, they trade punches, back and forth. Cody is whipped chest first into the buckles. Then Rollins chokes him against the middle rope. Rhodes starts firing back and hits a sunset flip for a 2 count. Rollins goes up top, but Rhodes hits him and climbs up alongside. Cody hits a standing superplex, and both men are down. They trade chops and slaps again, and it turns into a hockey fight. Rhodes ducks a clothesline and hits a snap power slam, then a clothesline. Rollins over the top rope to the floor and follows up with a springboard dive. But nobody's home. Rollins wants a suicide dive, but Rollins hits him. Rollins rolls over and ducks a clothesline. Then catches him with the Cody Cutter for a near fall. Rollins elbows Cody and wants a pedigree, but Rhodes fights it. Seth hits a super kick and an Avita Kedavra for a near fall. Rollins looks for the stomp, but Rhodes avoids it. Cody looks for a crossroads, but Rhodes fights him off. They both attempt pedigrees. Then Seth hits a ripcord knee, elbows to the back, and a falcon arrow for a near fall. This is awesome chants from the fans. Rollins delivers some knees to the gut, but Rhodes kicks him off and attempts a disaster kick, only to get caught and hit with a buckle bomb. Rollins goes up top and hits a frog splash, but Cody kicks out. Rollins goes up top for a Phoenix splash, but nobody's home. Then Cody hits a super kick. Rhodes goes up top, but Rollins jumps up and hits a superplex and looks to roll into a falcon arrow, but Cody counters with a crossroads. Cody pins Seth, but legs land on the bottom rope. Cody is annoyed and chases Seth out of the ring, where he slams him into the announce desk a few times. Cody gets back inside the ring and wants a moonsault, but Rollins avoids it. Rollins quickly grabs Cody and hits a pedigree and covers, but Rhodes kicks out. Rollins is angry and shouts that Cody can't lace his boots. Rollins kicks Rhodes in the forehead a few times, then lifts him up and punches him like Dusty Rhodes. Cody avoids the last punch and hits a crossroads. He looks for another, but Rollins knees him off. Cody wants a vertebreaker, but Rollins rolls him up and holds the tights, but Cody turns it over and pulls his tights and the win. Cody picks up the victory. Now, from what we see on Monday Night Raw, this isn't over, not by a long shot. We don't need 3 fucking matches. He won 2, so we're going to have another one? Doesn't make sense. No more matches with Cody and Seth. I'm done. We go to Bobby Lashley versus Amos. Match gets underway and Lashley clubs at Amos. He gets shoved away. Lashley continues to land blows and beats Amos down. Amos back to the ropes. MVP gets on the apron and distracts, allows Amos to drop Lashley with a boot. Amos lands Lashley to the corner and delivers an elbow and a splash. Amos twists Lashley's head and runs him over the ropes. Lashley slowly gets back in and Amos lifts him up and hits a snake eyes followed by a big foot. Amos chokes Lashley against the ropes, but Bobby starts firing back with jumps on him and with a sleeper. Amos slings him off and looks for another splash, but Lashley avoids it. Lashley tackles Amos in the corner and shoulders him, then clotheslines him against the ropes. Lashley traps Amos' arm inside the ropes, and MVP is losing it. Lashley starts pummeling Amos with right hands, and the Nigerian Nightmare can't move. MVP swings his cane at Lashley to get him away. Then Lashley jumps out of the ring and grabs MVP. Amos grabs Lashley and drags him back into the ring. Lashley counters Amos and hits a flatliner, then looks to apply the hurt lock. Lashley gets it in, and Amos drops to a knee. Amos rallies and runs Lashley into the buckles, but he doesn't release and hold until the referee counts to 4. Amos drills Lashley with elbows and chops and clubs him. Lashley kicks Amos away, then wants a suplex, but can't get him up. Amos knocks Lashley back, then runs at him, but gets caught with a spinebuster. Lashley wants a spear, but Amos knees him, then sends Lashley shoulder first into the ring post. The referee talks to Amos, allowing MVP to hit Lashley with his cane. Amos grabs Lashley and hits a choke bomb for the win. Amos wins. With this match, I don't give two shits. Honestly. I don't care. This was a match that I cared about. AJ Styles versus Edge. The bell rings and they run at each other and start trading blows. Styles beats Edge down in the corner, then whips him into the corner and connects with a dropkick. Edge rolls out and AJ goes after and sends him into the barricade. Styles slams Edge and into the announce desk, then hits a dropkick through the ropes. AJ gets on the apron and hits a springboard Aussie moonsault. Styles gets Edge back inside and wants a phenomenal forearm, but Edge kicks the ropes and AJ collapses onto the mat. Edge starts targeting AJ's shoulder, which is taped from the attack a few weeks ago. Edge sends AJ sliding into the post under the ropes. Edge gets Styles outside and hits a catapult into the steps. Edge slams AJ's hand into the steps before getting him back in the ring. Edge slams AJ down shoulder first, then applies a shoulder lock. After a while, Styles fights up and both men hit stereo crossbodies and go down. They get up and AJ lands some clotheslines and a sliding forearm. AJ ducks a clothesline and hits a wheelbarrow facebuster for a near fall. AJ takes to the top rope and hits a super Frankensteiner for a near fall. Styles counters Edge and hits a Yushi-Goroshi for another near fall. Edge takes a cheap shot and hits a reverse DDT, then locks a crossface. Style reverses into the calf crusher, but Edge grabs the ropes. Styles grabs Edge from behind, but Edge clings to the middle turnbuckle. Edge rips the buckle off and AJ hits him. Then Edge looks for a spear, but Styles dodges and exposed Edge hits the exposed ring post. Styles covers for it too, then looks for a follow up, but Edge spears him and scores a near fall. Edge looks for another spear, but AJ knees him. Styles hits a suplex onto the top rope, then lifts Edge off and hits a Styles Clash, but Edge kicks out. Edge goes to the apron, but can't springboard with his bad shoulder, so he goes to the top rope. Damian Priest comes down to the ringside where he's not supposed to be. But then Finn Balor rushes down and they brawl around the ring. The referee is distracted and a hooded figure jumps on the apron and shoves AJ off. Edge locks in a crossface and Styles passes out. The winner's Edge. Now this is where it gets this is taking it to another level. After the match, Edge's hooded figure gets in the ring and kneels to him. The person pulls their hoodie off, and it's Rhea Ripley with black hair. Ripley and Edge pose together. And a little news on Rhea Ripley. She is fucking banging Mr. Buddy Murphy. Lucky fucking her. I see either Ciampa or either Mustafa Ali or Donovan Dijakovic. Possibly the next people to join the Judgment Day. Oh, yeah, I gotta get better lighting in here. This is ridiculous. We go into the only match that had a title defense in it. It was Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte Flair for the WWE SmackDown Women's Championship, and it was an I Quit match. The match gets underway, and Flair looks for a boot, but Ronda avoids it and delivers some knees to the gut. Ronda catches Flair with a knee to the jaw and grabs the back, but Charlotte elbows her. Ronda hits a few judo throws, then runs at Charlotte, but eats a boot again. Charlotte hits a German suplex and kips up. Flair wants the figure 8, but Ronda flings her off. Ronda, with a step-up kick, jumps on Flair and looks for a rolling armbar. Charlotte rolls out of the ring, taking Ronda with her and breaking the hold. Flair runs into the barricade, then chops her chest. The referee asks Ronda if she wants to quit. She says, "You'll have to chop better than that." Rousey sends Flair into the ring post, then tosses her over the barricade. Ronda goes to get Charlotte, but gets caught with a boot to the face. Flair goes under the ring and pulls out a kendo stick. Or a Singapore cane. I don't understand why they're not calling it Singapore cane. It's beyond me. She swings for Rousey, but hits the announce desk. Ronda knocks Charlotte back and takes the kendo stick for herself. Flair hightails it and runs up the ramp and backstage. By the time Rousey hits the stage, Flair has 2 kendo sticks. They run at each other and swings. Flair gets the better of Rousey blocks a shot and flips Flair over. Ronda gets the 2 kendo sticks and batters Charlotte all the way down the ramp and back into the ring. Charlotte refuses to quit, even though the kendo sticks are splintered. I liked how Ronda was holding it like she was like a katana from Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat. I don't know, so don't fucking at me here, people. Okay, thank you. Charlotte grabs a camera from the cameraman and throws it at Ronda, but misses it. Ronda then chases Flair over the barricade into the crowd. Flair throws a drink at Ronda's face, then throws her into the hockey boards. Charlotte's arms are cut from the kendo shots. Flair drags Ronda up the steps, puts her between a metal railing, and basically applies a camel clutch. But Ronda will not quit. They fight back down towards ringside, and Rousey gets a steel chair, but Charlotte kicks it out of her hands. Flair slams Rousey into the announce desk, then lifts her up and power bombs her into the barricade. The referee asks, but Rousey says no again, and Charlotte is getting distraught. Rousey lifts Charlotte and looks to run her into the ring post, but Flair rakes the eyes and shoves Ronda into it. Charlotte goes to the top rope and looks to hit a moonsault, but Rousey drags her down into a tree of woe and applies a hanging armbar. Flair screams in agony but won't quit. Eventually, they both fall onto the floor. Rousey gets hit with a steel chair put back in the ring, where Flair hits a natural selection onto a chair. The referee asks Ronda, still won't quit. Flair is in disbelief. She grabs Ronda and applies a figure 4 before transitioning to a figure 8. The referee asks Ronda, shouts, never, bitch, and uses the chair to hit Charlotte and get free from the hold. Flair gets a chair and says Happy Mother's Day to Ronda, who grabs Flair's arm and drags it through the chair. Ronda applies the armbar through the chair, but Charlotte won't quit. So Ronda locks it in harder, and finally we had Charlotte screaming, I quit. New women's champion, Ronda Rousey. This match could have been saved for SmackDown this week. They could have given the main event, and that would have been it. Madcap Moss versus Happy Corbin. They lock up, and Corbin forces Moss back to the corner. Moss lands some right hands and a shoulder tackle. Moss catches a kick and knocks Corbin back, then hits 2 leap frogs and a hip toss. Moss is sent to the apron but punches Corbin back, only to get kicked as he re-enters the ring. Corbin hits a choke slam. Corbin takes Moss outside and beats him against the barricade, then puts him back in the ring. Corbin connects with a back elbow, then punches him in the corner. Corbin Irish whips Moss and into the turnbuckles, then drills him with 12 elbows. Moss fights up, but Corbin hits the out and in clothesline for a near fall. Corbin hits a flip slam for another 2 count. Corbin gets sent outside when he re-enters. Moss hits him with a big shoulder tackle. Corbin rolls out and Moss runs out and jumps on him with a big right hand. Moss sends Corbin into the ring post, then gets him back inside for a fallaway slam and a 2 count. Corbin counters a neck breaker and hits a back suplex for a 2 count. Corbin beats Moss into the corner but gets kicked away. Corbin avoids Moss jumping at him and hits a deep 6 for a near fall. Corbin splashes Moss in the corner and signals that it's over. He looks for another splash, but gets sent outside the ring. He rushes back in for a clothesline, but Moss avoids it and hits a sunset flip for the win. Winner, Madcap Moss. A video package airs for Drew McIntyre, going all the way back to the start of his career, chronicling his struggles through to now. McIntyre is in Scotland for the package. He was also there so he can promote the UK show that's coming up. I just kicked a can. That is going to be coming up in September. So we see replays of Ronda versus Charlotte, in which Ronda became the new SmackDown Women's Champion. Kayla Braxton is backstage, and she announces that Charlotte has fractured bone in her forearm. So she's getting married, so she's done. So we can move on. The main event, we have the Bloodline versus RK Bro and Drew McIntyre. The main event eventually begins with Randy Orton and Jimmy Uso. Orton pretends to go for McIntyre's sword before locking up with Jimmy. Jimmy backs Orton in the corner and punches him, but Randy sticks a thumb in his eye and hits a European uppercut. Riddle tags in and Orton flips him onto Jimmy. Jimmy whips Riddle hard into the buckles, then whips him again, but this time Riddle leaps over Jimmy and kicks him in the chest. Riddle hits a cut-wrench suplex and tags McIntyre, who stares at Roman while chopping Jimmy. McIntyre cuts Jimmy off and hits a suplex. Then tells Roman to tag in. The fans want to, and Reigns tags in against Heyman's wishes. Reigns and McIntyre circle the ring, then Roman tags Jay, and the fans boo loud. McIntyre boots Jay, then hits a belly to belly. Riddle tags in, but Jimmy and Jay team up to take down, and they begin to isolate him from his partners. They beat Riddle down into their corner, and the fans chant for Roman. So he tags in, and he gets involved and slams Riddle down by the head. Riddle taunts Orton and McIntyre as he toys with Riddle and drops him with a clothesline. Reigns hits a powerful STO for a near fall. Jimmy tags back in and attempts a splash, but Riddle avoids it. Jay tags in to prevent Riddle making a tag, then tosses him shoulder first into the post. Jay super kicks Orton off the apron and laughs at McIntyre. Riddle clocks Jay with a Pele kick. Jay rolls outside, but Roman grabs him and rolls him back in. Roman tags himself in, but Riddle leaps to tag McIntyre and stands opposite each other. They exchange blows, and Roman hits Drew with a knee, then sends him into the buckles, but McIntyre bounces out with a clothesline and follows up with a belly-to-belly. Drew hits a neckbreaker to Roman, then one on Jimmy as well. McIntyre readies for a claymore, but Ray distracts them and Reigns hits a Superman punch. McIntyre rolls out, so Roman goes and brings him back in. Reigns stops McIntyre and slows the pace to taunt the fans. Roman clubs McIntyre with clotheslines in the corner, then hits a running clothesline. Reigns asks for his belt and poses with them in the ring. Roman uppercuts Riddle on the apron, and Orton is furious. McIntyre capitalizes and drops Roman with a boot. Both men are down, and both Jimmy and Orton get the tags. Orton with clotheslines and snap power slam, then one to Jay as well. Orton drags Jimmy through the ropes and hits a draping DDT. Randy wants the RKO, but Jimmy rushes back in, only to get thrown straight back out. Reigns rushes in but gets caught with an RKO. The fans are going bananas. Jimmy super kicks Orton, who immediately responds with an RKO and covers, but Jay breaks it up. McIntyre comes in and throws Jay across the ring, then wants a Claymore, but eats a super kick from both Usos. Jay and Riddle to get the tags, and Riddle runs over with knees and forearms and hits an exploder suplex and knocks Jimmy and Roman away. Riddle wants a moonsault, nobody's home, and he follows up with a senton. Riddle hits a fisherman ring buster, and goes to up top for a floating bro and a near fall. Riddle wants an RKO, but Jay counters with a pop-up neckbreaker. Orton and Jimmy brawl on the outside, and Orton beats him down. Orton turns around, and Reigns comes off the steel steps with a Superman punch. McIntyre grabs Roman from behind and shoves him into the steel steps. Drew clears the announce desk and grabs Roman, but Jimmy hits Drew from behind. Reigns grabs McIntyre and hits a Uranagi through the table. Riddle comes off the top with a floating bro to Roman and Jay, but Jay hits Riddle with a suicide dive. Riddle and Jay get back inside and trade back and forth, with Jay getting the better of the exchange. Jay goes up the top and Roman tags himself in. Riddle leaps up and hits an RKO off the top. Riddle gets up and Reigns hits a spear and covers the winner of the Bloodlines. Now, the Bloodline. Now, this is what I would do. I would have had one of the Usos get pinned, a la Drew McIntyre, because then it leaves at least them a little bit strong. Everybody would have looked good. But I can understand why they did that, because then it says, well, if they won this time, maybe the RK Bro is going to get the tag team titles, and that's when the Bloodline is going to slowly lose power. That's the way I'm thinking about it. Let me know what you think about it. We are going to move on to this week's Raw. Monday Night Raw starts off with highlights from WrestleMania Backlash, the main event, which saw the Bloodline defeat RK Bro and Drew McIntyre. The Raw Tag Team Champions RK Bro make their way to the ring, where they will be defending their titles against the Street Profits. Orton takes the microphone and the fans chant his name. He welcomes us to Monday Night Raw, and he says they lost the battle last night, but they will win the war. Orton says nothing was on the line last night because the big dog himself tore up the contract. And he did that because he knows his boys can't hold a candle to RK Bro. Orton says the Usos got them thinking they like to be the undisputed tag team champions. Riddle says he and Randy will be going to SmackDown this Friday to see the tribal chief and demand a title match. And if he says no, it goes to the show. And if he says no, it goes to show the chief has no confidence or faith in his family. But it doesn't matter because they're going to show up regardless. You will be getting that next Friday. You'll be getting it this coming Friday when I do episode 239. The Street Profits come out, interrupt RK Bro, and mock them for losing. Ford says RK Bro think they are going to SmackDown on Friday, but tonight they have next. They're the ones that are going to unify the tag team champions. Dawkins says the 420 shirts have their brains fogged because they must have forgotten they're facing them right now. Ford says they want the smoke, but Riddle says, RK Bro, 420 just says we just smoked your asses. This match is next. The match gets underway with Riddle and Ford. Montez takes Riddle down and mocks him. They exchange counters for a moment, and then Riddle mocks Ford, and the fans chant, Bro. Dawkins tags in the following dropkick from Ford. Riddle and Dawkins go back and forth before Orton tags in and lands some European uppercuts in the corner. Orton slams Dawkins, then tags Riddle, and they hit a double team floating bro. Dawkins knocks Riddle back to the rope and runs at him, but Riddle jumps up and drags him over the ropes with his legs. Riddle jumps off the apron onto Dawkins, but then Ford dives over the ropes with a Superman tope to Riddle. Then does the Randy Orton pose. We come back from commercial break. Riddle is fighting back against Ford, but gets cut off. Ford attempts a suplex, but Riddle lands on his feet and delivers a knee before tagging Orton. Dawkins tags in too and gets caught with a clothesline and a snap power slam. Then one of Montez's Ford as well. Orton hits a draping DDT and the crowd is losing it. Orton wants an RKO, but gets knocked out of the ring. Riddle catches Dawkins with a switch knee and sends Ford over the top rope. Riddle goes for the apron and hits a soccer kick to Ford. Riddle goes for a springboard floating bro, but hits Orton because Ford moves. Ford gets Riddle in the ring, and Dawkins catches him with a spine buster. Ford follows up with a big frog splash and covers, but Orton breaks up the pin attempt. Orton and Dawkins brawl outside the ring. Ford hits Riddle with an enziguri and floats and goes to the top rope. Ford dives off the top rope for a sky-high frog splash, but Riddle catches him with an RKO from out of nowhere for the win. RK Bro retain. I do not want to see the Street Profits anywhere near the title scene on this. I don't know what you do with them. You repackage them, you fucking turn them heel. I don't give a shit. Do something with them because I'm sick and tired of them being on TV. In the back, Kevin Patrick is standing on a no, sorry. Yeah, well, it's in the back of the the arena, standing on a platform in the crowd. But and out comes United States champion Austin Theory for an interview. Patrick asks he's preparing to face a worthy opponent in Cody Rhodes after he defeated Seth Rollins twice. Theory says he's just scratching the surface of his greatness. Austin Theory says he was basically in diapers since the last time Rhodes was in the WWE. Austin Theory doesn't care about the past. It's all about the future. And that's Austin Theory. We see a replay of Edge versus AJ Styles from last night's WrestleMania Backlash. Edge got the win thanks to Rhea Ripley, the newest member of the Judgment Day. Edge, Ripley, and Damian Priest make their way out to the ring, and Edge is sporting a new haircut that looks very similar to Ripley swept back fade. We come back, and the Judgment Day are in the ring. Edge says they formed because they were tired of being sheep. What did being a sheep get him? A spot in the Hall of Fame. He's bigger than the Hall of Fame. There isn't a part of him that hasn't had surgery, and it left him on the sidelines for 9 years. He came back, played the role again. And what happened? The ugly fans got on their cheap phones and tweeted crap about him. Priest says nothing or no one can touch the Judgment Day. Eventually, they are better than all of the rest. But together, they're something else. They were incredible when they were just him and Edge. But imagine how much better they're going to be now that they've added the instrument of brutality, Ripley. Says joining the Judgment Day was the easiest decision of her life. Rhea saw Edge and Priest change for the better, and she wanted that for herself. She's done signing autographs at the airport for kids that say they want to be like her when they grow up. The same kids sell her autograph on eBay. She's done being used, but she has some unfinished business with Liv Morgan. Will no longer ride her coattails. Edge says this group is all about unrealized potential. Ripley and Priest are the saints of faith, two souls that needed a rudder, and he is that rudder. Edge says he approached Ripley a few weeks ago and told her that Morgan was holding her back. He looked at Ripley and he saw a juggernaut that could run over anyone, but was content in the slow lane. Now she's been unleashed, but his movement is not done. They aren't finished. They want more souls. Liv Morgan interrupts. So we get the match. And they start with hockey fight. Ripley shoves Liv back and headbutts her. Ripley lifts and throws Morgan across the ring, then delivers a shoulder tackle in the corner. Rhea with another peel, then another tackle in the corner. Ripley lifts Morgan onto the top rope and punches her, but Morgan hits her with a hurricanrana. Morgan lands a few strikes, but Ripley catches her with a big boot and scores a near fall. Ripley mounts Morgan and delivers some big right hands. Edge is loving this. Liv slaps her, so Ripley slaps her right back. Ripley slams Liv into the mat a few times, then applies a body scissors. Liv tries to fight up but gets knocked down with a clothesline. Ripley pins with one foot, but Morgan kicks out. Ripley puts a boot on Liv's back and stands on her. Ripley lifts her up and wants the riptide, but Morgan slides down the back and lands a fury of punches and kicks. Liv with a bulldog and a springboard recoil for a near fall. Ripley fights back up, hits a kick to the face that applies the prism trap, which was the Texas cloverleaf, and Liv taps out. Ripley is the winner. After the match, and I gotta blow my nose. I'm so sorry, people. I am very congested and I can't wait to take my nose medication. Oh, oh, oh. Oh my God, I can't believe this. After the match, Edge and Priest get in the ring with Ripley. Edge gives Ripley a nod, so Rhea grabs Liv and applies the prism trap again. Liv screams and taps out, but Edge gets down and mocks her tapping out. Ripley eventually throws her aside, but then out comes Finn Balor with AJ Styles at his side. Balor will be facing Priest right after the break. The match gets underway. Balor grabs a side headlock. Priest shoots him off and hits a shoulder tackle. Priest beats Balor in the corner, then an Irish whips him into the opposite. Priest hits a back elbow, then runs at Balor but gets caught. Priest hits a double ear clap and takes Balor down with a Falcon Arrow before grabbing a submission. Balor fights up and gets caught with a flapjack for a 2 count. Balor counters a tilt-a-whirl with a Russian leg sweep. Finn chops Priest against the ropes, then hits a dropkick to the knee. Balor lands a sling blade and clotheslines Priest over the top rope. Balor wants a dive to the outside, but Rhea pulls Priest out of the way and Balor stops. Edge then spears Finn. Disqualification, Balor. As soon as the match ended, Styles attacks Edge and they brawl. Styles gets the better, then throws hands with Priest until Ripley stands between them, allowing Edge to jump AJ from behind. Edge hits a spear at the same time that Priest hits a sweep. The Judgment Day pose all together. Kevin Owens is backstage with Alpha Academy. Chad Gable is talking about how they can find out if Ezekiel is really Elias. He had Ezekiel's red cup sent to his friends at the DNA lab. He'll have the results back next week, and they'll know his real identity. Owen says he has a special guest lined up for tonight, his older brother Ken Owens, and an accomplished Grand Prix driver from Nova Scotia, and he's going to beat Elias tonight. MVP and Amos are in the VIP lounge. MVP tells everyone to get on their feet and show respect to the man that dominated Bobby Lashley last night. MVP says he's proved that he is the game changer. Lashley was only an almighty because of him. That ungrateful fool went to WrestleMania without him. Cedric Alexander interrupts MVP and comes to the ring. He says Amos did what he said he was going to do. Security tried to stop Alexander, but MVP tells him to let him in the ring. Alexander says with MVP's acumen, his expertise, and Amos' strength, they will be unstoppable. MVP asks what he's talking about, but before they get any further, they're interrupted again. Bobby Lashley comes down to the ring and absolutely mauls the security around the ring. Cedric jumps off the apron but gets caught and slammed into the barricade. Lashley gets in the ring and almost comes at him, but Lashley clotheslines him over the ropes. Lashley turns to MVP, but Alexander jumps on his back and MVP escapes. Lashley applies the hurt lock on Cedric and stares at MVP and Amos. Sonya and Adam Pierce are backstage, and she tells him to stop talking about the investigations. They both know she does her job to the best of her ability each week. She wants to now who she wants to know how wants to know who she will be facing tonight, but stops him from answering and says she doesn't care because it's just business regardless. Sonya Deville is in the ring waiting for her match. Adam comes out and says the investigation into Deville's conduct has been concluded. WWE management found that Deville's action had been repeatedly unprofessional, and as the result of her contract has been terminated. Deville is beside herself. Then introduces her opponent for tonight, Alexa Bliss.
I don't know that.
I can't stand this thing. Bliss still has Lily, but she's dressed like her old self. The fans chanted, "Welcome back." Bliss ducks Deville and hits a snap DDT that goes up for Twisted Bliss for the win. So that was a quick fucking match. And I gotta blow my nose for the second time. I just want to apologize. Oh my god. Oh. We come back from a commercial break. Ezekiel comes to the ring for a match. They welcome Ken Owens, the older brother of Kevin Owens. From Nova Scotia, Owens comes out wearing a gray wig and with his beard dyed gray. Ezekiel accepts him for who he is, but Owens tells him to stop. He says nobody actually believes he's alive. It's his brother. Everyone is just playing along. Ken says the fans, for a show of hands, and around half the audience say they believe he's Ezekiel. Ken is obviously nobody's. Is Connecticut, graduated high school. He gets angry, but Ezekiel tells him Kevin wouldn't approve of this, yelling. Ken rips his wig off and reveals he's, in fact, Kevin Owens. Ezekiel says this would be a perfect time for Elias to come out and singing a lullaby to calm him down. Owens attacks Ezekiel and stops him down. Ezekiel starts fighting back and beats Owens into the corner, but out comes Alpha Academy. They turn the tables. Owens and Gable hold Ezekiel down so Otis can splash him. Owens lifts him up for a stunner and then poses with Alpha Academy. Asuka is backstage with Adam Pierce, and Pierce says she can have a title shot if she can beat Bianca Belair tonight. Becky walks up and she is not happy. She says she was the champion for nearly a year and she deserves a rematch. Lynch says she gave Asuka her title when she left and she lost it. And she'd been gone for months. So why does she get a title shot? Pierce justifies it and walks off, leaving Asuka and Lynch to argue. Veer Mahan versus Frank Lowen. Byron Saxton interviews Lowen before the match. The guy says he's nervous, but he has a wife and triplets at home that he needs to provide for. So he has to do this for them. They lock up, and Veer slams Frank down by the waist, then picks him up and does it again. Lowen lands some elbows, ducks a clothesline, and kicks Veer in the face. Lowen hits the ropes, but Veer catches him with a body attack. Mahan with a sidewalk slam, then backs him into the corner and clubs him. Veer with a clothesline and applies a cervical clutch for the tap. Veer Mahan wins. In the back, Kevin Patrick interviews Cody Rhodes backstage. Cody says Seth Rollins took him to the limit for the second time last night, but he walked away with the win and the money. As far as he's concerned, this chapter with Seth Rollins is done. He's focused on Austin Theory, a kid brimming with potential, but nothing sounds better than Cody Rhodes, the new United States champion. Cody Rhodes makes his entrance, and the match will happen after the break. The match gets underway, and Cody grabs a leg. Theory backs up to the ropes to force the break. They lock up, and Cody grabs a hammerlock. Then Theory turns the table, but Rhodes sweeps his leg and wants a figure four, but again, Theory grabs the ropes. A third lockup, and this time Theory grabs a side headlock, but Cody fights him off. Theory lands a back elbow, but Rhodes fires back with a right hand, then sends him to the apron. Theory snaps him on the top rope, then hits a rolling drop kick through the ropes for a 2 count. Theory whips Rhodes to the rope and catches him with a back elbow. Theory does the Stardust cartwheel and poses. Theory kicks the gut and looks for a suplex. Cody blocks it and hits one of his own. Rhodes connects with a dropkick and Theory rolls to the apron. Cody hits a springboard enziguri and drops Theory. Cody goes to the apron for a running kick, but Theory blocks it and knocks him down. Theory removes the top of the announce desk, but Cody beats him onto hit and climb up with him, but Theory runs back to the ring. We're back from commercial break. We return to see Theory holding Cody down with a rear chinlock. Rhodes fights up and lands some punches, and both men hit crossbodies at the same time. They get up, and Cody hits a flying forearm, then a snapmare power slam for a 2 count. Rhodes heads up top and hits a moonsault for a near fall. Theory hits an elbow to the jaw and follows up with a Ushigoroshi for a near fall. Theory wants the ATL, but Cody slips off the shoulders and hits a disaster kick. Rhodes follows up with a Cody cutter, and he is all fired up. Cody waits for Theory to get up and he wants a crossroads, but Seth Rollins rushes in and attacks him from behind, so it's a DQ. Rhodes beats Rollins out of the ring, then tackles him at ringside. Rollins beats Cody into the announce desk while screaming at him. Rollins gets on the desk and hits a curb stop. We come back from commercial break. We have Sasha Banks and Naomi versus Nikki Ash and Doudrop. This was a quick match. We started off with Naomi and Doudrop. Naomi knocks Doudrop back to the corner and clubs her. Naomi slides under a clothesline and taunts Doudrop with her booty. Then lands a donkey kick. Doudrop hits a seated senton for a near fall. Doudrop kicks Naomi and slams her face into the mat. Doudrop says stays in control for a minute and splashes Naomi in the corner. Naomi starts firing back and hits a bulldog into the buckles. Banks tags in and teams with Naomi to kick Doudrop. Banks jumps at Doudrop but gets kicked, caught, and slammed. Nikki tags in and hits a crossbody for a 2 count. Nikki hits a seated net breaker that mounts Banks for punches. Banks knocks Doudrop off the apron, makes the tag, and teams with Naomi for the win. Sasha and Naomi win. After the match, Doudrop berates Nikki and says, "When is she going to start taking things seriously?" As they're arguing, out comes the Miz in a referee shirt. We have Tommaso Ciampa versus Mustafa Ali. Special guest referee, The Miz. Before the match, The Miz says they've asked him to be the referee for this match. They needed someone magnanimous and impartial. The match starts. They exchange some holds. Ali hits a roll up, but Miz is very slow to start the count. Ali gets annoyed, but Ciampa takes advantage and knocks him out of the ring. Champion goes out and drops Ali before the sitting on the announce desk and patting himself on the back. Ciampa gets Ali back inside and grabs a side headlock. Ali tries to fight free, so Ciampa releases this and stops him. Ciampa whips Ali hard into the buckles, then runs at him but gets caught with a clothesline. Ali lands some right hands, ducks an elbow, and hits a flying forearm. Ali hits Ciampa with a tackle in the corner, lands on the apron, then rolls through the ropes for a neck breaker. Mustafa looks for a 450, but Ciampa rolls out of the way. Ciampa grabs the back, but Ali shrugs him off and super kicks him. Ali hits a tornado DDT, covers, but the Miz takes forever to count, and Ciampa kicks out. Ali is furious, but Ciampa grabs him, hits a reverse DDT, and covers. The Miz counts the pin super quick to have Tommaso Ciampa win. We get a video of Lacey Evans talking about her trouble past, which she is usually reserved for SmackDown. Pretty sure this is the same video or slightly altered one as we got recently. We come back from the commercial break. Bobby Lashley is backstage and he is furious. He says MVP is to blame for everything. He challenges MVP to let Amos have a spotlight by himself. He says he wants Amos one-on-one trapped inside a steel cage with him. R-Truth is backstage. Dana Brooke and Tamina Snuka both want divorces. They tricked Reggie and Tozawa into a meeting. Them and Truth serves them with both divorce papers. Tozawa wouldn't accept them and ran off, so Truth chases him. Reggie can't believe it. Asuka versus Bianca Belair. The match gets underway, and these women's matches are so fucking quick. Now, I want everybody this week for Raw, NXT, and SmackDown to time. I'm going to be doing it. You better be doing it too. Match gets underway, and Asuka lands some leg kicks, but Belair takes her down with a side headlock. Asuka fights up and blocks a shoulder tackle. Then Belair leapfrogs her and dances Asuka with a roll up for a 2 count. Belair jumps over, handsprings backwards, then runs Asuka, but gets caught. Belair hits a suplex and attempt to roll into a second, but Asuka fights her off. Belair looks for the glam slam, but Asuka rolls her up for a 2 count. then transition into an armbar. Belair rolls over, but Asuka switches to a triangle choke. Belair slowly deadlifts Asuka up and slams her down. Belair hits the ropes, but Becky Lynch trips her. Disqualification. Winner Bianca Belair. Lynch drags Belair out and runs her into the steel steps. Becky gets in the ring and kicks Asuka in the face, then trash talks her. Lynch lifts Belair and hits the manhandle slam. Lynch leaves, and Belair comes in to check on Asuka. And that was it. These women's matches are getting short. I remember them getting 15, 20 minutes. Now they're getting less than 10 minutes. Some of it is less than 5. Their entrances are longer than their matches. This week, NXT opens with a look back at last week's Spring Breaking show, where Braun Breaker defeated Joe Gacy but ended up swarmed by Gacy's Druids. Women's Tag Team Championships. Toxic Attraction versus Wendy Choo and Roxanne Perez. Perez makes her entrance but stops on the ramp and points behind Toxic Attraction, where Wendy Choo is on the top rope, and she takes all 3 of them out with a crossbody. The match gets underway with Perez and Dolan, and Roxanne takes control and keeps Gigi away from her corner. Choo tags in and hits a double team with Perez before tagging right back out. Jade blind tags in and Dolan gets rolled up and she hits a neck breaker to Perez. Jade screams before knocking Perez down, then grabs a submission. Perez hits Choo on the apron, then turns back, but Roxanne rolls under a clothesline and makes the tag. Choo with some clothesline and series of suplexes to Jade. Both Dolan and Jade get sent to the outside, and Perez hits both with a flying clothesline off the apron. We return from the break to see JC get a near fall on Choo. Jade grabs a submission, but Wendy fights up and makes a hot tag to Perez. Gigi comes in the other side, and Roxanne takes her down with a series of clotheslines. Roxanne lifts a tilt-a-whirl Russian leg sweep for a near fall. Choo comes in and hits a sleepy elbow drop for a 2 count. Perez gets the tag again and builds a head of steam. Roxanne goes to the top rope, but Mandy Rose gets in the ring and helps Dolan to her feet. Choo then comes in and spears Mandy and lands a series of punches. Roxanne goes for a code red on Dolan, but JC lands a super kick on Wendy for the pin victory. Winner's Toxic Attraction. After the match, Mandy, Gigi, and Gacy group up and beat Wendy Choo down before posing with their belts. We see a video from earlier this week of Tiffany Stratton taking Grayson Waller shopping to make him feel better. She says, "It isn't fair what happened with him and Chase University last week." Waller says they're going to have a teachable moment because there's nothing more dangerous than the Grayson Waller effect. We come back from commercial. We have Roderick Strong is training backstage when the Creed brothers come in. They aren't happy about getting involved last week about him getting involved last week. They say he didn't have to, and they're going to get another opportunity, and they're better get it out of the way. Strong doesn't see what he did was wrong. He says he brought a new member into Diamond Mine, a Greco Roman wrestler and the man who will be a game changer for Mine. Damien Kemp, Julius, and Brutus tell Ronnie that new members should be a group decision and walk off angrily. Uh, Roderick looks like he wants to be with his brothers in AEW. Just saying. Joe Gacy comes to the ring with two hooded figures. Gacy says he opened his heart to everyone seeking inclusivity, but two stood above the rest. They were committed to the cause. His cause was his cause has been received. Fans chant, "Shut the hell up." Gacy says these two men are the faces of change, and they are a part of his expansion. And expansion starts one man at a time. So he's inviting Braun Breaker to join his movement. He assures the result will be eternal joy. Affliction and hardship await those who oppose. Andre Chase and Bodie Hayward are backstage warming up. When Saray walks in, she speaks in Japanese, and the full subtitles are already there before she speaks. Despite this being live, she says she can't stand Grayson Waller or Tiffany Stratton. So how about they have a mixed tag tonight? Andre doesn't know Japanese, but Bodie does. He translates. Andre is impressed that Chase has a foreign language department. He agrees to the match, and Saray says they will win. Coming back from the commercial break, Ivy Nile is hosting a challenge to a bunch of trainees. She wants them to do push ups, and if they can compete, they have to leave. If they can't compete, they have to leave. She does over 80. She does over 80, and one guy walks out. We see 8 women competing in the women's breakout tournament. Nikita Lyons, Ariana Grace, Roxanne Perez, Kiana James, Lash Legend, Tatum Paxley, Sloan Jacobs, and Fallon Henley. First match from the breakout, Fallon Henley versus Sloan Jacobs. Another fucking short match. The match gets underway, and Henley takes a side headlock and gets slowed down. Jacob gets free and hits a few roll ups to no avail. Fallon connects with a dropkick, then grabs another headlock. Henley gets shot off, and Sloan looks for a dropkick, but Fallon grabs the ropes and avoids it. Fallon jumps over her, but Jacob connects with a dropkick. Sloan grabs a headlock, but out comes Briggs and Jensen to root Henley. Sloan gets a bit of distraction, and Fallon takes her down. Henley kicks her against the ropes, then slides under the bottom rope and uppercuts her, as Briggs and Jensen would do. Fallon grabs a wrist lock. Sloan tries to fight up, but Fallon sweeps her leg out and reapplies it. Jacob hits an arm drag, but then gets caught with an elbow. Then both women hit facebusters at the same time. Jacob goes to the middle rope and hits a Hurricane Rana, then lands some clotheslines and a neck breaker. Jacob lifts Fallon up, but Henley slips off and slams her onto her knee. Henley hits a Shining Wizard for the win. Henley picks up the win. Legado del Fantasma are backstage. An interview. Santos says he felt disrespected last week when AJ Galante was brought to their meeting. A swift response was necessary for respect. Tony D'Angelo is going to learn he can't get involved with Legato's business and expect to walk away. Raul Mendoza goes outside to get Legato's car, but when he returns, the lights on Tony D'Angelo's is standing in front of the SUV. D'Angelo goons grab Raul Mendoza out of the car and beat him down in the parking lot. Then they put him in the trunk of the car. Amari Miller versus Kaylee Ray. The match gets underway. Kaylee slams Miller down right away. Kaylee attempts a crucifix pin. She kicks out. Miller grabs a side headlock. Kaylee rolls up for a 2. We see split screen of Ivy Niles drilling her rookies, and now they're doing burpees. Kaylee slaps Miller across the chest, then hits a springboard arm drag. Amari hits a neck breaker for a 2 count. Ray fights back with a tornado DDT, then hits a super kick for a near fall. They trade shots. Kaylee attempts a gory bomb, but Miller slips off and rolls her up for a 2 count. Miller trips Ray and hits clothesline for a 2 count. Ray hits her with a gory bomb and then goes up top and it hits a swanton bomb for the win. Kaylee Ray picks up the win. We see Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams arrive at the arena and try to enter the back door, but Solo Sequoia blocks them out. Back from the commercial, Coral Jade is backstage for an interview. She said she's nervous to face Natalia. She's a legend, but Natalia isn't facing the same kid she took photos with a decade ago, the same girl she texted last year, or the same woman she slapped last month. She's ready to step up to the next level. Solo Sequoia makes his way to the ring. The fans chant his name, Sequoia. Says, "You damn right." He said this is supposed to be Carmelo and Trick's segment, but it's his time now. Solo says they want to talk about the North American Championship, but we know what happened last week. He's going to be watching if Melo gets his shot against Grimes, and he wants the winner. He doesn't care who wins. The North American champion Cameron Grimes comes out. He says he respects Solo and understands he wants another title shot. It's going to be him and Carmelo Hayes at In Your House. But as soon as he's done with him, Solo has a word that he has next in line. Grimes looks for a handshake, but Sequoia walks past him. Trick and Hayes rush in behind Grimes and beats him down. Sequoia looks around and watches. Hayes looks to hit his famouser off the top onto Grimes on a chair, but Sequoia rushes back in and drops them both. Hayes hightails it before Sequoia hits a hip attack. In the corner, Sequoia lifts the North American Championship, but Grimes snatches it away. Legado del Fantasma finds the empty SUV outside. Escobar makes a call to Tony D'Angelo and says, "Whoever kidnapped his brother is in big trouble." D'Angelo plays dumb and says his right-hand man went missing too, so maybe the same person took them. Santos says he doubts it because AJ Galante is in rough shape. D'Angelo gets angry and says if he touches Galante again, he will kill him. Tony cools down and tells Santos he will allow Mendoza out of the trunk if he agrees to meet me next week. Escobar agrees and says, fuck you before hanging up. We come back from the commercial. Nathan Frazier is interviewed backstage. He says he's on cloud nine since beating Grayson Waller on his NXT debut. Tonight he's a fan and he loves great Chase U. Zion Quinn walks up and tells Frazier to keep his head down and run it straight. Frazier asks what that means, and Quinn gets mad. Wesley appears beside Frazier and mocks Quinn, who says he's already put him in his place. Lee says Quinn can take it up with him. Oh, I love Zion Quinn. He's gorgeous. Grayson Waller and Tiffany Stratton versus Andre Chase and Sarai. We're kicking things off with Waller and Chase, and they lock up. Chase grabs a wrist lock, but Waller turns the tables and flips him. Chase grabs a headlock, but gets shot off and drops Grayson with a shoulder. Waller leapfrogs him, but Chase hits a hip toss that knocks Waller dancing. Stratton tags in, which means Saray is legal. Stratton gets out of the ring and runs away, but Saray chases her. They get back and Stratton stomps her, but Saray takes her down and applies a submission. Stratton fights up and Waller runs in. So Chase comes in as well. Chase and Saray beat Waller and Stratton out of the ring. They pose together as we head to break. We come back. Chase is fighting out of a headlock. Waller drops him with a rolling elbow, then tags Stratton, who knocks Saray off the apron. Waller flips Stratton for a moonsault onto Chase. Waller tags in, back in, and hits an elbow drop off the middle rope. Saray comes in to break the pin. Waller goes back to a headlock, but Chase counters with a back suplex, and they're both down. Stratton and Saray get the tag, and Saray runs over to Tiffany with clotheslines and drop kicks. Stratton lands a forearm to the jaw, but Saray lands another drop kick. Saray looks for a hanging drop kick, but Waller pulls Saray out of the ring. Waller gets inside, but Chase trips him and holds him so Saray can hit the drop kick to him. Waller runs out of the ring, stuns Stratton, returns the body slam Saray, then hits a spinning Vader bomb for a near fall. Bodie blows a horn and distracts Tiffany, so she dives over the rope onto him. Stratton gets back inside and Saray rolls her up while Chase holds Waller so he can't get back inside. Winners Saray and Andre Chase. Ivy Nile is still training with her rookies. They are doing lunges outside the arena with Bulgarian bags, and more of them have dropped off. Von Wagner and Robert Stone are backstage, and Stone says if you mess with Wagner, you end up on the shelf. It happened to Ikemen Jiro. It happened to Books Jensen. Ikemen Jiro appears and attacks Wagner and brawl until the referees pull them apart. Come back from commercial. Toxic Attraction approach Indy Hartwell in the lounge. Mandy says she just wants to check in and see how Indy is doing after what she's gone through lately. Hartwell thanks them and says she has been heartbroken. Mandy laughs, says no man has ever left her. They mock Indy, and walk off. NXT Breakout Tournament Women, Round 2. Nikita Lyons versus Ariana Grace. Another short match. Jesus. Grace slaps Lyons across the face as the bell rings. Lyons kicks her leg, then applies a backslide for a 2 count. Lyons goes off a goes Lyons does a gator roll, then separates and Grace ducks a swift kick. Nikita takes her down, but Adriana applies an armbar. Lyons then lifts her and drops her to break the submission. Grace runs Lyons into the turnbuckle shoulder first. Grace continues to target the arm and drops a knee, then slams it into the mat. Grace applies a wrist lock inside control. Lyons fights free and starts throwing Ariana around the ring. Lyons runs her into the buckles, lands a German suplex, then hits a kick to the head. Lyons hits a split-legged leg drop for the win. Lyons picks up the win. Nikita Lyons will face Fallon Henley in the second round of the breakout tournament. We'll see more round one matches next week. Ivy Nile is still doing her challenge battle rope and pull ups with chains, and she's down to just one pretty buff guy. She beats him with ease. We come back from commercial break. The Viking Raiders are backstage, and they said they were beat in NXT for the first time ever last week, and it's pissed them off. They accept the challenge to face the Creed brothers next week. Ratnook is coming. This is the only fucking match that lasted more than 5 minutes because if it was Natalia. How fucking sick is that? If you people are so happy that about the women's division in WWE, you really need to get a life. You need to get a life. Because let me tell you something. 5-minute matches are diva matches. And don't at me. Natalia versus Cora Jade. The match begins and they lock up with Natalia talking Jade down with taking Jade down with a head scissors. Jade kips up, but Natalia kicks her in the gut. Natty takes Cora down again, but this time she slings Natalia off. And Natty smiles at her. Jade grabs her waist, but Natalia elbows her. They trade pin attempts, and Jade gets on the top for some mounted punches. Natalia wants an armbar, but Jade scrambles away. Jade hits a springboard hurricanrana, then looks for a sharpshooter, but Natalia rows out of the ring to get out of the way as we head to commercial. We return to see Natalia attempting a surfboard stretch, but Jade impressively counters out. Natalia shoves her, but Jade fires back with a slap in the face. Jade tries to crawl under the legs, but Natalia lifts her up. Jade slides off and hits a head scissors. Jade with a knee against the ropes and a tornado DDT for a near fall. This is awesome chance as Jade goes to the top rope. Natalia cuts her off, but Jade lands some right hands and knocks her down. Jade leaps over Natalia and wants sliced bread, but Natalia throws her away. Natalia trips her over and she wants a sharpshooter, but Cora kicks her off. Natalia hits a discus lariat for a near fall, and she laughs in frustration. Natalia pummels Cora in the corner and hits a snap suplex into the ropes. Natalie starts targeting the leg, weakening it for the sharpshooter. Natalia drops an elbow on the leg, then puts Cora in the corner and goes out for a snap to snap her leg into the ring post a few times. Chorus cries in pain. Natalie goes to goes back to the well, but this time Jade yanks her onto the ring post. Natalia goes back inside and wants a suplex, but Jade rolls her up for a 2 count. Natty slaps her in the face, but Jade kicks her in the knee, then hits a step up enziguri. Jade uses the ropes to hit a double stomp to the back for a near fall. Jade hits sliced bread, but she took a to minute to make the pin, and Natalia kicked out. Jade hits a roll up for a 2 count, then Natalia does the same. Jade applies the sharpshooter, but but her knee buckles. Jade uses the ropes to get her to the feet, but Natalia runs at her. Jade kicks Natalia back and climbs the ropes, but Natalia yanks her off and she lands on the mat. Natalia applies the sharpshooter and Jade crawls towards the ropes, but Natalia drags her back. Jade starts crawling again, but again she gets dragged back. Natalia sits lower and cinches in harder, and Jade passes out. The winner, Natalia. As they went off the air, she goes and picks her up, and she actually hugs her and shakes her hand. We are going to go to last week's AEW Rampage. Having COVID sucks. You're all discombobulated. Last week's Rampage was being taken and broadcast from the Chesapeake Employers Insurance Arena in Baltimore, Maryland. We start off with Jamie Hayter and Dr. Britt Baker, D&D, versus Ruby Soho and Tony Storm. Hayter and Storm locked up. Hayter hit a shoulder block on Tony, but Storm fires back with a shoulder tackle of her own. Ruby Soho tagged in and connected with a running knee forearm to Hayter. Jamie Hayter hoisted up Ruby and slammed her in the turnbuckles, allowing Britt Baker to tag in and use the sling blade for a near fall. Britt was looking for the air raid crash, but Ruby had it scouted. Tony tagged in, and she and Ruby used a double outer leg sweep on Britt Baker. Tony stomped a mud hole on Baker. Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, rallied back with a kick of her own before she tagged in Hayter back in. Hayter continued the onslaught to Tony with a snap suplex. Storm dumped Hayter on her head with a German suplex. Ruby ran in after the tag and hit a back spinning kick on Britt Baker. She baited Britt in again, and she used a running kick to Britt's jaw. Tony Storm made a blind tag and used a hip attack in the corner on Baker. Tony tried again, but Hayter stopped her. Baker blasted Storm with an air raid crash. Tony and Britt slugged it out with forearms. Baker flattened out Tony Storm and was looking for the lockjaw. Tony countered and nailed Britt with a release German suplex. Rebel distracted ref Paul Turner while Hayter and Baker double team Tony Storm. Tony Storm rolled up Baker out of nowhere and grabbed the pin. So, wow. Wow, she just pinned the former AEW Women's Champion. Holy shit. The premier athlete, Tony Nese, was backstage with Smart Mark Sterling. Nese, why is the hottest free agent has to force himself on the show? Sterling, we would like to have a match with the idiot everyone loves. Nese, next week I want to house him. Hook versus JD Drake. Hook grappled Drake to the mat. Drake pie-faced Hook and then chopped him. Hook asked for another chop, and when Drake went to chop it, Hook lowered his head and headbutted Drake's hand. Hook T-bone suplexed JD Drake. Hook floated behind Drake and applied red rum, forcing JD to tap out. Hook scoring yet another win, said Excalibur. DeHausen walked onto the ramp with a microphone. Tony Nese challenged DeHausen. DeHausen has a proposal for you. Perhaps you could be in DeHausen's corner. What do you say? Come on, said DeHausen. Hook shoved DeHausen away as DeHausen poked him in the chest. DeHausen spilled out of the ring, leaving a bag of chips tied up with a bow for Hook's birthday. Hook picked up the bag of chips and then dropped it. Owen Hart Foundation Women's Tournament Qualifier Match. Magic Girl Yuka Sakazaki versus Riho. Riho's seen her first action since undergoing shoulder surgery earlier this year in the hands of Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, said Excalibur. Yuka used a side headlock takeover on Riho. Riho fired back with a dropkick to Yuka's head. Both of these women have a lot of high energy, said Ricky Starks. Rio rocked Yuka with a flying crossbody press off the top rope for a near fall. Yuka Sakazaki collided with Riho, using a cannibal senton onto Rio on the arena floor. Rio rattled Yuka with a dragon suplex. Rio followed up with a diving knee strike for a near fall on Yuka. Rio made the climb to the top turnbuckle, but Yuka jumped at that her up there. Yuka planted Rio's face first for a near fall. The crowd chanted, "This is awesome, this is awesome." Rio tripped up Yuka with an inside cradle and pinned Yuka. Rio advances into the tournament. Dan Lambert was in the ring with TNT champion Scorpio Sky and All Ego Ethan Page. Ethan Page said they had a team meeting. Page said the mixed tag team match was off. Frankie Kazarian walked out to the ring. Scorp said, "Scorp, I've always believed in you. I've always been your biggest fan, but right now I'm your biggest threat. All I'm asking is that you deliver what you promised. Give me my shot at your TNT title." Page, SCU is dead, dude. Sky, I'm going to be a fighting champion. That means every worthy contender is going to get their title shot. With all due respect, Dan, it means your belt needs to go back into the trophy case at the American Top Team. Frankie, I have gave you my word. Next week, you've got your title shot. The main event, Jay Lethal versus Kotozuki Takashita. Takashita is representing DDT wrestling in Japan, said Excalibur. Lethal grabbed a single leg for a takedown on Takashita. Lethal cartwheeled into a drop kick at Takashita. Takashita grabbed two arm drags and then hit a lariat on Lethal. Takashita hit with a dive over the top rope to the arena floor. Satnam Singh got in Takashita's face. Lethal nailed Takashita with a tope suicida. Takashita clobbered Lethal with a lariat from the top rope for a near fall. Lethal stepped through the figure four leg lock. Takashita countered with a sheer drop brainbuster. Konosuke connected with Konosuke connected with a discus lariat, and he followed up with a jumping knee and covered Lethal, but Sanjay distracted the referee, giving Lethal enough time to collect his thoughts. Lethal finished off Takashita with the lethal injection, pinning Takashita for the victory. Sanjay Dutt and Satnam Singh began to beat down Takashita. After the match, Trent, Chuck Taylor, and Orange Cassidy came down to the ring. Satnam flapjack Trent. Satnam smashed Chuck on the mat like a basketball. Ring of Honor World TV Champ Samoa Joe came down to the ring and ended even things to the ring to even up the odds with a steel pipe. AEW security held a furious Samoa Joe. Now, the what was going to go on Dynamite? There was going to be a Hart Foundation men's tournament quarterfinal match between Darby Allin and Jeff Hardy, CM Punk versus Dark Order's John Silver, the Owen Hart men's tournament quarterfinal, another quarterfinal match, Adam Cole versus FTR Dax Hardwood, FTW champ match pitting FTW champion Absolute Ricky Starks versus the World Tag Team champion Jungle Boy, and these matches were fucking crazy good. This was inhaling from the UBS Arena in Belmont Park in Long Island, New York. This was in my fucking backyard. We start off with the Owen Hart men's tournament quarterfinals, which Dr. Martha Hart was there. She was, and then the picture with Tony Khan and the family and everything. The kids look like they want to fucking be with the rest of their family. I know from fucking word of mouth, actually from literally direct knowledge, she and the kids are not talking to the rest of the family because of her stance on what her husband had happened to. You know what? If the rest of the family have accepted what was going on with Owen, you need to be fucking goddamn putting things behind you. It's going to be so hilarious when basically a good chunk of his career, as time goes on, people are going to not. We're going to be like, how the fuck did he die? You're going to have to mention WWE. And if you don't, you're a fucking bitch. You're a fucking bitch now, Martha. You don't deserve to be called doctor. We start off with Adam Cole, Bay versus FTR Dax Hardware. What a tremendous night to honor the late great Owen Hart as the tournament begins, says Tony Schiavone. Dr. I'm not even going to call her doctor. Martha Hart was in attendance watching the show. Cole shoved Dax with an open palm to the face, trying to get under Hardwood's skin. Dax did take the bait and grappled Adam Cole to the mat. Dax chopped at Adam's chest. Cole answered with a knee to Dax Hardwood. Cole began to ground and pound attack on Dax, followed by a hanging neckbreaker. Adam Cole fought out of an early sharpshooter attempt. They traded cradles after a misdirect. Cole rammed Hardwood's ribs into the steel ring post. Adam Cole followed up, whipping Dax into the steel ring steps, using them to his advantage. Adam Cole, looking to exploit what could be a rib injury to Dax Hardwood, said Excalibur. Dax Hardwood muscled Adam Cole over with two German suplexes. Cole snuck in a suplex of his own, but then Hardwood, possibly with a cracked rib, nailed Cole with a third German suplex. Cole and Hardwood slugged it out on the top turnbuckle. Dax delivered a headbutt and then followed up with a slingshot powerbomb to Cole for a near fall. You got to hand it to Hardwood, who is fighting through a lot of pain, said Jim Ross. Cole dropped Dax with a brainbuster on the knee for a near fall. Both these men are reaching into deep territory, said Jim Ross. Cole was looking to land a super kick but countered it and connected with a crossbody to Cole. Hardwood jumped off the turnbuckles, but Cole landed a super kick. The fans are chanted AEW, AEW, AEW. Cole tried for a Panama Sunrise, but Dax countered, looking for the sharpshooter, but Cole kicked out of it. Hardwood spiked Cole with a pile driver for near fall. These guys are spent, man, Tony Schiavone said. Tony Schiavone. Dax locked on the sharpshooter. Dax couldn't hang on due to his damaged ribs. Cole blocked Dax off the apron onto the floor, seemingly knocked the wind out of Hardwood. Adam Cole applied the sharpshooter, targeting the lower back, the knees, and the ribs of Dax. Dax Hardwood tried to bridge out of it, nowhere, out, bridge out, but had nowhere to go and was forced to tap out. The sharpshooter does it. Adam Cole wins it, said Jim Ross. Adam Cole advances in the tournament. CM Punk versus Dark Order, Mean Man John Silver. AEW World Champion Hangman Adam Page joins the commentary team for this match. Punk walked out wearing the Islanders hockey jersey. John Tavares. Here tonight I've got John Silver back, said Adam Page. Punk thrives on controversy, said Jim Ross. Silver knocked down Punk with a shoulder tackle, but Punk attempted a hip toss, but Silver countered with a backslide pin for a near fall. Silver connected with a rapid forearms and then kicks, battering Punk in the corner. Silver tried a swinging DDT, but Punk tossed him off and then hit Silver with a stiff lariat. John Silver punished Punk with various leg kicks, followed up by a brainbuster. This thing is turning into one hell of a wrestling match, said Jim Ross. John Silver is giving him one hell of a fight, said Tony Schiavone. Punk countered with a roundhouse kick to Silver, then followed up with a rising knee strike. Punk dropped John Silver with a leg lariat, then stared at Adam Page from the ring. Punk used Page's a buckshot lariat and then pinned John Silver. The champion is pissed, fellas, said Jim Ross. AEW World Champion Hangman Adam Page confronted CM Punk in the ring. Punk, are you mad? Hangman, I don't know why these people don't like me. When it comes to you, when it comes to them, when it comes to that title, it's not personal to me. It's just business. I used to wake up every morning. Are you a good guy? This morning I woke up and asked myself, are you the champ? My answer was yes. So at Double or Nothing, you will shake my hand whether you're unconscious Or conscious, said Punk, extending his hand. Adam Page answered by flipping off CM Punk. Tony Nese versus DeHausen. The long-awaited in-ring debut of DeHausen, said Excalibur. DeHausen cursed Tony Nese, but Tony Nese blasted him with a running knee. Tony quickly pinned DeHausen. Sterling, are you shocked? I'm not. Tony, this guy got an entrance and you didn't. What do you think of that? Tony Nese nailed DeHausen with another running knee. Sterling told Nese to do it again. Long Island's own. Hook walked out he he lived on Long Island. So we have another boy, another Long Islander in the biz. Walked out to the ring, and Nese and Sterling bailed out of the ring. Hook staring daggers at Tony Nese, said Excalibur. DeHausen extended his hand, and Hook accepted. Could we see Hookhausen after all? Wondered Excalibur. Up next, the contract signing between MJF and Wardlow for Double or Nothing. Wardlow was led out to the ring in handcuffs by a massive security detail. MJF paid Chris Jericho to narrate a phony Dark Side of the Ring vignette about Wardlow's selfishness. Wardlow sat at one end of the table in the ring. Spears stood on the other side with Smart Mark Sterling and Sean Spears. MJF, I love you, Long Island, but unfortunately we got to talk to Wardlow. Let's be honest, Wardlow, it's a true underdog story. David versus Goliath. I'm from the most magical place on earth, Long Island, New York. I know this state sucks, okay? I am fortunate to be living here on Long Island. Bash it all you want. I don't care. I don't care. But, people talking about it, people always forget that Long Island's part of New York, and it pisses me off, okay? But we're here tonight to go over the conditions to face me at Double or Nothing. And if you win at Double or Nothing, I'll let you out of your contract. But first, I'd like to give you an opportunity to speak to my people tonight. The crowd booed Warlow at MJF's insistence. MJF, let's talk about conditions. Warlow, you're kind of the worst, and karma is coming your way. Warlow, if you want to wrestle me, you're going to get whipped. Sean Spears, how many times are you going to whip Warlow? Warlow held up 10 fingers. I don't know why you're laughing, MJF, because you have to face Sean Spears in a cage with a special guest referee, me. And if you happen to get past Sean Spears, you face me. But if you lose at Double or Nothing, you will never get to sign a contract with AEW with All Elite Wrestling forever, because I'm MJF and I'm better than you, and you know it. Warlow tried to sign the contract, but handcuffs got in his way. MJF ordered security to remove Warlow's handcuffs so he could sign the contract. Warlow stood up and signed the contract. Warlow flipped the table and demolished the security detail. Spears stood guard in front of MJF with a steel chair. Warlow drops Sean Spears with a single shot. MJF tried to escape, but Warlow snatched him Mark Sterling jumped on Warlow's back and MJF ran away. Warlow powerbombed Mark Sterling through the table while MJF and Spears watched from the distance. FTW title match. Absolute Ricky Starks versus the World Tag Team Champion Jungle Boy. Taz joined the commentary team for this match. Stark slapped the back of Jungle Boy's head after countering a hammerlock. Jungle Boy used a snapmare, then a headlock takedown on Starks. The FT champion nailed Jungle Boy with a knee to the back. Jungle Boy springboarded off the ropes and hurled Starks across the ring with an arm drag and his own momentum. Jungle Boy nearly decapitated Ricky with a comebacker lariat. He tried for a DDT, but Starks put the brakes on. Still, Jungle Boy snuck in DDT to the ring. Starks fell for a near fall. Jungle Boy clocked Starks with a big thrust kick, having a Rochambeau scouted. Starks speared Jungle Boy, but Jungle Boy fought back with a snare trap. Starks dug his fingernails into the mat and finally reached the ropes. Starks grabbed the FTW championship, but Swerve Strickland ran down and pulled the belt away from him. Ricky Starks blasted Jungle Boy with the Rochambeau while Jungle Boy was looking at the distraction, and Starks pinned Jungle Boy. Christian and Luchasaurus came down to the ring. Christian was upset and began yelling at Swerve. Keith Lee stormed out to the ring, coming to stand by Swerve's side. What a standoff, said Shivani. Christian approached Jungle Boy and offered him some support. The Jericho Appreciation Society victory speech. The Wizard, Chris Jericho, Daddy Magic Matt Menard, Jake Hager, Cool Hand, Angelo Parker, and Daniel Garcia came in the ring. There was a podium set up in the ring. Angelo, AEW Galaxy welcomes to our victory speech. Menard, you want to know what really turns me on? The fact that I get to stand here and be part of the greatest faction in the world, the Jericho Appreciation Society. Jericho, you know there's a lot of hometown heroes here tonight. I am one of them. Did you know that? I was born just down the road, but I move away pretty damn quickly because this place is a dump. Come on, you know, it sucks. You've got a problem with that? I'll throw a fireball in your face. I am a wizard. Now, I had a fight with somebody, I think it was on on Twitter. Oh, he's not from. Yes, he was born here. He's from here. He was raised in Canada. I love being fucking right, people. He was born in fucking Manhasset. And it wasn't down the road. It's not even close down the road. I'm closer right now to Manhasset than fucking Belmont. Jericho. You know, there's a lot of hometown. Oh, wait, sorry. We did exactly what we said we were going to do. We systematically eliminated Santana Ortiz and that piece of trash, Eddie Kingston. So just stay at home, boys, especially you, Kingston, because I burned your face. Besides, you need to stay home and take care of your wife and make sure she feels better. And if she doesn't, just have her give me a call. John Moxley music begins to play. Moxley made his way through the ringside area and approached the ring. There's only one of you and 5 of us. Get the hell out of here, Moxley. said Jericho. American Dragon, Brian Danielson, Wheeler Yuta, and William came down to the ring. Still, only 4 of you and 5 of us, said Jericho. Eddie Kingston, Santana, and Ortiz jumped on the ring apron. The Blackpool Combat Club and Santana and Ortiz and Kingston had Jericho Appreciation Society surrounded. They all charged in and swarmed the Jericho Appreciation Society. Regal nailed Jericho with a right hand. The Jericho Appreciation Society retreated. Owen Hart Foundation Women's Tournament quarterfinal. Jamie Hayter versus Tony Storm. Tony Storm applied a headlock to Hayter, but Hayter escaped. Hayter applied her own headlock on Storm. Tony dropkicked Hayter, but Hayter followed up with a big boot, knocking Storm to the arena floor. Hayter used a twisting snap suplex on Storm on the arena floor. Back in the ring, Storm planted Hayter with a DDT. She followed up with a second DDT to Hayter, taking her to the outside of the ring. Storm connected with a big crossbody to Hayter for a near fall. Hayter delivered a backbreaker to Tony. Storm countered a ripcord lariat with a German suplex to Hayter. Jamie Hayter dropped Storm spine first on the apron. Hayter suplexed Storm. Tony spiked Hayter with Storm Zero out of nowhere and pinned Hayter. Tony Storm advances in the quarterfinal. Tony Storm advances in the tournament. Owen Hart quarterfinal. Owen Hart Foundation Men's Tournament quarterfinal. Darby Allin versus Jeff Hardy. With knowing this, Tony Khan says, I am just getting this out of there. It's an anything goes match. Have fun. Because they would have got itchy and wanting to use all this shit. Sorry. You have COVID. This is what happens. Excuse me. This match was declared an anything goes match. Darby blasted Jeff with a shotgun dropkick and followed up with a tope suicida. Darby grabbed steel chairs from beneath the ring and then set them up in a row. Darby tried to grab Jeff, but Jeff hoisted him up and dropped Darby on the steel ring steps. Jeff jumped off the stairs with a huge clothesline to Darby. Darby pushed Jeff into the steel ring post out of sheer desperation. Jeff used a twist of fate in the ropes on Darby. Jeff pulled out a giant ladder from beneath the ring. Jeff pushed the ladder into the ring, which must have been a 15-foot tall ladder. Darby jumped off the ladder and crashed down onto Jeff on the chairs outside the ring. They both broke it up, said Tony Schiavone. A brutal landing and an Excalibur. The crowd chanted, "This is awesome, this is awesome, this is awesome." Darby climbed the turnbuckles looking for the coffin drop. Jeff moved as Darby landed hard on the edge of the ring. Jeff moved at the last possible second. Darby Allin overcommitted, said Excalibur. Jeff climbed to the top turnbuckle and went for a swanton bomb, but Darby moved. Jeff crashed burned on the ring steps. Darby hit the coffin drop, but Jeff Hardy countered, rolling up Darby for the pin. Jeff Hardy advances. Darby and Jeff shook hands after the match. After the Undisputed Elite walked onto the ramp and had stare down with the Hardys. On Rampage, which was 5:30, TNT champion Scorpio Sky defending his title against former SCU teammate Frankie Kazarian for the first time ever. Ruby Soho versus Riho in the Owen Hart Foundation Women's Tournament. Death Triangle versus The Butcher, The Blade, and Mark Quinn. Which I didn't watch because I'm sick as a dog. That is it. That is it. And I want everybody to have a great rest of your Saturday night. Oh, we're into Sunday morning. Okay. I want everybody to have a great Sunday. Enjoy yourself. Please go check out my social media. It's all Mel's Mat Chat. Find it. And if you're serious, please do me a favor. I will let you follow me, but you got to try to direct message me and say I want to be able to follow you because I won't let you in otherwise. Twitter, you can follow me. I have no problem. Just pop there, follow. I think if I'm not mistaken, let me just quickly check. I have 1,004, so happy about that. I need more followers. Come on, come on. Uh, but follow me on there, Mel's Mat Chat. I will be back here Friday at 2:30. I'm gonna try to get on a little earlier. Just follow my Twitter and go check out all those wonderful people. Pro Wrestling Television. Go check them out. All streaming services and app stores. Please go check out harrys.com, maestroclassics.com, liquiddeath.com, deathwishcoffee.com, ringsidenews.com. Go check out Outbreak Wrestling on all social media platforms. Go check out HOG Wrestling at hogwrestling.net. Please go and check all those people out. I would appreciate it. And enjoy your Sunday. Love you all. See you Friday.